Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively court case. A judge has ruled on the protective order. This is a big deal.
Who won? Well, I think it's a bit more complicated.
He made it very clear that some of the things that Blake was afraid of coming out in court were not things that Wayfarer was actively pursuing.
All rise. The judge has ruled on Blake Lively's protective order. So Blake Lively was fighting to have a protective order put in place for attorneys' eyes only to protect items that may come up in discovery, presumably the Taylor Swift text messages.
What happens when one of Hollywood's golden stars turns into its biggest villain? That's exactly what's unfolding in the explosive legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. A judge has just ruled on a critical protective order. But the real bombshell dropped when insiders revealed alleged bribery receipts. These documents suggest shady deals and secret payoffs designed to silence critics, and now Blake's darkest secrets are spilling into the spotlight. Rumors are swirling about $100 million tied to efforts to keep certain evidence buried, raising eyebrows across Hollywood and beyond. Sources close to the case claim that Blake's team is scrambling, enlisting high-profile PR strategists and even ex-CIA agents to manage the fallout. Meanwhile, her own PR firm seems to be distancing itself, signaling that the scandal might be too big to contain. This isn't just a courtroom drama. It's a Hollywood nightmare where fame and fortune collide with accountability. Every twist reveals more about the lengths to which some celebrities will go to protect their image, and the cracks that form when those defenses fail. So, buckle up because things are about to get wild. With each new revelation, the stakes grow higher, leaving fans and critics alike wondering, how far will Blake go to salvage her reputation? And at what cost? In a stunning turn of events, Judge Lyman has made it abundantly clear that no amount of celebrity status or Hollywood clout will shield Blake Lively from the intense scrutiny she now faces. Her frantic attempts to conceal key evidence under an attorney's eyes only order have only fueled suspicions, leaving many to wonder what exactly she's so desperate to hide. Legal experts and insiders are raising eyebrows, pointing out that such extreme measures are typically a red flag for something far more sinister lurking beneath the surface. But here's where things take an even more dramatic twist. Rumors of a jaw-dropping $100 million bribe have begun to circulate. Yes, you heard that right. Sources close to Blake suggest that someone in her inner circle allegedly offered the staggering sum in a bid to bury certain incriminating files before they could see the light of day. If these allegations hold any truth, it could very well be the smoking gun that not only derails her career, but also marks the beginning of her legal and public downfall. Yet, as shocking as this revelation may be, it feels like we're only scratching the surface. With each new development, more questions arise. What other secrets is Blake trying to keep under wraps? Who else might be implicated in this web of deceit? And how far is she willing to go to protect her image? This scandal is far from over, and it seems the deeper we dig, the darker the truth becomes. Leaked documents allege that Blake engaged in hush money schemes and backroom deals to protect her image, revealing a pattern of calculated attempts to silence critics and control public perception. Sources familiar with the matter claim that the so-called bribery receipts expose not just isolated incidents, but a broader web of corruption and a manipulation designed to shield her from accountability. Each new revelation seems to compound her problems, as every effort she makes to bury evidence only leads to more secrets spilling into the light. For instance, insiders report that her own PR firm, once a steadfast ally in managing her public persona, has now distanced itself from her entirely. This move is particularly telling, signaling that even those within her inner circle view her situation as beyond salvageable. It's almost poetic if you dig too deep. Eventually you'll drown in the dirt you tried to hide. Her frantic attempts to cover up wrongdoing have instead created an avalanche of scrutiny, leaving her increasingly isolated and exposed. The more she scrambles to protect herself, the clearer it becomes that her actions may have dug a hole too deep to climb out of. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Blake has taken desperation to a whole new level. She's thrown everything at the wall, hoping something sticks, from fake evidence about a horrifying dance scene to wild accusations against Justin Baldoni. Yet none of it holds up under scrutiny when the full video of the dance leaked. It showed Blake smiling and comfortable, completely contradicting her claims. Far from the traumatized victim she portrayed herself to be, the footage painted a picture of an actress simply doing her job. The The stark contrast between her narrative and reality only fueled more skepticism. And when asked for proof of her allegations, she came up empty-handed, no receipts. No credible witnesses, no substantiated facts. Her silence on delivering concrete evidence has left many questioning her motives. Now, people are asking, was this entire lawsuit just a ploy to ruin Baldoni's reputation? Or was it a misguided attempt to control the narrative, fearful that any crack in her public image might spiral into something far worse? Either way, her strategy seems to have backfired spectacularly, leaving her looking more like a manipulative antagonist than a wrong party seeking justice. As details continue to emerge, one thing is clear: Blake's attempts to smear Baldoni have only succeeded in tarnishing her own credibility further. The court of public opinion isn't kind to those who cry wolf, especially when the truth tells a vastly different story. If there's one thing Blake excels at, it's spinning tall tales, but not even she could anticipate how quickly her web of lies would unravel. Take the infamous dance scene, for example. She claimed it was forced and traumatic, painting herself as a victim who had no choice but to endure an unbearable situation. But when the full video leaked, it told a very different story. The footage showed her smiling, laughing, and moving, comfortably completely contradicting her earlier claims of distress. It became painfully obvious that the trauma she described never existed in the first place. Then there's her bizarre smear campaign against Justin Baldoni, which took things to another level of absurdity. Her team accused him of toxic positivity because he encouraged employees to sign emails with phrases like "so much love." And let's not forget about the time he filmed himself handing out clothes to homeless people, an act of kindness that somehow became twisted into evidence of his supposed insincerity. Really, it's almost laughable if it weren't so sad. These accusations don't just lack substance. They highlight a desperation on Blake's part to find anything negative to say about him. No matter how ridiculous or far-fetched each lie she told only made her look guiltier, chipping away at whatever credibility she had left. With every new revelation, the public grows more skeptical, more frustrated, and less forgiving. Patience is running thin, and people are starting to see through her carefully constructed facade. At this point, it's clear Blake isn't just losing the legal battle, she's losing trust, respect, and any chance of coming out of this mess unscathed. But Blake isn't the only name making headlines in this ever-growing scandal. High-profile celebrities like Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds are now rumored to be deeply entangled in this mess, dragging even more listeners into the spotlight. Why are Blake and Ryan so panicked about text messages involving Swift? The speculation is running wild, with some insiders suggesting that these private exchanges might contain incriminating details, perhaps moments where they bragged about manipulating public narratives, or even mocked the legal system behind closed doors. Others wonder if the texts reveal attempts to strong-arm people into supporting their side of the story, or expose how they plan to use their celebrity status to bend the rules. Whatever it is, the fact that Blake and Ryan are fighting tooth and nail to keep these messages hidden speaks volumes. It's almost as if they're terrified of what might happen if the public gets a glimpse into their private dealings. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds' behind-the-scenes scheming has become increasingly apparent. Sources say he's been working overtime, pulling strings and calling in favors in an effort to salvage what's left of their once golden image. But is it too little, too late? The damage seems to have already been done. With each passing day, more cracks appear in their carefully constructed facade, leaving fans and critics alike wondering just how far the scandal will reach and whether anyone involved will emerge unscathed. While Blake flounders, Justin Baldoni's defense remains rock solid, a testament to his commitment to truth and fairness. His legal team has been nothing short of meticulous in their approach, systematically dismantling every accusation Blake has thrown his way. They've pored over her claims with a fine-tooth comb, exposing glaring inconsistencies, half-truths, and outright fabrications at every turn. The evidence they've presented paints a damning picture of Blake's tactics, particularly the leaked audio that reveals she was the one who orchestrated a blacklist against Baldoni, not the other way around, as she had falsely alleged. This revelation alone has sent shockwaves through the case, further eroding any credibility she might have had left. The contrast between the two sides couldn't be starker. On one hand, you have Blake, whose strategy seems to revolve around drama, manipulation, and attempts to control the narrative through deceit. Every time she tries to smear Baldoni or twist the facts, another hole in her story emerges. making her look increasingly desperate. On the other hand, Baldoni has taken the high ground, relying on cold, hard facts and complete transparency to make his case. There are no theatrics, no attempts to manipulate public opinion, just a steady stream of irrefutable evidence. That speaks for itself. As more details come to light, it's becoming painfully clear who the real victim is in this saga. Baldoni, once painted by Blake as some sort of Hollywood villain, now appears to be exactly what he claims to be, an innocent party caught in the crosshairs of someone else's vendetta. Meanwhile, Blake's actions have only served to highlight her own culpability, leaving observers questioning how anyone could still believe her version of events. With each passing day, the truth becomes harder to ignore, and for Blake, that truth may very well be the final nail in the coffin of her reputation. This scandal marks a pivotal moment not just for Blake Lively, but for Hollywood as a whole. For decades, celebrities have operated under the unspoken assumption that fame and fortune grant them immunity from the rules that govern ordinary people. Whether it's bending laws, silencing critics with hush money, or relying on high-powered PR teams to smooth over scandals, the rich and famous have often acted as though they were untouchable. But Judge Lyman's steadfast refusal to bend the rules for Blake Lively sends a powerful message that is reverberating throughout the entertainment industry. Justice doesn't care about red carpets, magazine covers, or blockbuster movies. Doesn't bow to elitist egos or bank accounts filled with millions. This case has become a litmus test for accountability in an era where public trust in celebrities and their ability to manipulate systems is at an all-time low. As details of Blake's legal missteps continue to emerge, including allegations of bribery and attempts to suppress evidence, people are watching closely to see if this marks the beginning of a new era in Hollywood, one where accountability finally trumps celebrity privilege. Legal experts and industry insiders alike are debating whether this could set a precedent for future cases involving high-profile individuals. Could this be the moment when courts stop treating celebrities differently? Or will this remain an isolated incident? Either way, Blake Lively's downfall serves as a stark cautionary tale for anyone who believes that fame can buy them immunity from consequences. Her story underscores a universal truth: no matter how glamorous your life may seem, no one is above the law. And now, more than ever, audiences are demanding transparency and fairness, not just in courtrooms, but in every aspect of the lives of those they admire. The ripple effects of this scandal could extend far beyond Blake herself. As her reputation crumbles under the weight of her own actions, other celebrities might think twice before attempting similar stunts. Will we see fewer lawsuits filed out of spite or for publicity? Will stars become more cautious about how they wield their influence? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: Blake's fall from grace has ignited a long overdue conversation about power, privilege, and the limits of fame. It's a wake-up call for anyone who has ever believed that being famous means you're exempt from playing by the rules, because in the end, no amount of wealth or charm can protect you when the truth comes knocking, and when it does, the consequences can be devastating. Even if Blake manages to settle privately, the damage is done. Once revered as America's sweetheart, a title she worked hard to earn over the years, she'll now forever be remembered not for her talent or charm, but as the actress who faked a lawsuit and tried to bribe a judge. This isn't just another scandal that will fade with time. It's a defining moment that has permanently altered how people see her. Hollywood may forgive many sins, diva behavior, public meltdowns, even controversial remarks can eventually be brushed aside. But being exposed as a repeat liar who attempted to manipulate the legal system, that's a stain that won't wash away, no matter how much PR spin she throws at it. Her relationships with industry insiders are already crumbling, leaving her increasingly isolated in an environment where connections mean everything. Agents, producers, and fellow actors alike are distancing themselves from her, knowing full well that associating with someone embroiled in such controversy could harm their own reputations. Future collaborations seem unlikely because no one wants to risk working with someone whose credibility has been so thoroughly dismantled. The saddest part of all this, she had multiple chances to walk away before things spiraled completely out of control. There were moments when she could have quietly dropped her claims, apologized, or simply stepped back from the chaos she created. Instead, she chose to double down on deception, digging herself deeper into a hole of her own making. Every lie, every fabricated accusation, every attempt to silence critics only added fuel to the fire, until there was no turning back. In doing so, she didn't just tarnish her reputation, she destroyed her own career, brick by brick. until nothing was left standing. And perhaps the most tragic irony is that none of this needed to happen. Had she shown even a shred of humility or self-awareness, she might still be basking in the glow of her former image. Instead, she burned it all to the ground, leaving behind only ashes and regret. So, where does this leave us? With a mountain of unanswered questions and a star whose rise to fame has culminated in a spectacular fall from grace, Blake Lively orchestrated a fake lawsuit, lied about her evidence, and attempted to manipulate the legal system, all while hiding behind her celebrity status. But the truth is a way of catching up, and now the world is witnessing her unraveling, one thread at a time. What started as a seemingly straightforward legal dispute has spiraled into a full-blown scandal, exposing not just Blake's alleged misconduct, but also the cracks in the weight of Hollywood privilege. Her desperate attempts to silence critics, bury evidence, and rewrite the narrative have only deepened the scrutiny, leaving her reputation in tatters. This scandal isn't just about Blake. It's a reminder that no one is untouchable. It's a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks fame can shield them from accountability. The public is watching closely, dissecting every twist and turn, waiting to see how this will all conclude. Will she settle quietly, hoping to sweep the mess under the rug, or will this go to trial, where a jury might deliver the final blow to her already crumbling image? Either way, the damage is done, and the ripple effects of this fiasco will be felt for years to come. Stay tuned, because the final chapter of this Hollywood nightmare is far from over. And if there's one thing we've learned, it's that the truth always finds its way into the light, no matter how hard someone tries to keep it buried.